welcome back to Getaway Day. As always, I am Mason, he is Gautham, and today we are here to talk about football. It's the first Sunday of the NFL season. My Rams are playing against the Lions tonight. This is the wrong thing. We're here to talk about baseball.
How about that Caleb Williams guy?
How about that Caleb Williams, first round pick by the Chicago Cubs, probably.
Let's go.
No, yeah, it is football season, but that means that we are now in the stretch of the MLB regular season, something that we've all been well aware of for a couple weeks now, and we have been talking about for a couple of weeks now. So we've got some things that we're going to discuss today. It's a little bit of a smattering of everything, but I want to go ahead and get started with some of the biggest news for a young and hopefully up and coming Washington Nationals team. And that is that Dylan Crews, the second overall pick in the 2023 MLB draft, has made his way to the majors, making both Paul Skeens and Dylan Crews making the majors in their first full year after being drafted. So, Gowie, what are your takes on Dylan Crews making it?
Yeah, just as you talk about his draft status and how he was the number 2 pick last year, I feel like there hasn't been much fanfare about his promotion. And if we remember back to last year's draft, there was a thought that Dylan Crews could be the guy that went first overall. Obviously, Paul Skeens was a great pick. He ended up being probably the right pick. But Dylan Crews in a regular year, he would have been. He could have been a number 1 overall pick.
And Dylan Crews was supposed to be until Skeens had that fantastic College World Series. Exactly, and that's what put him on the map of being the 1-1. Between him, Dylan Crews, Paul Skeens, Dylan Crews, and like maybe Walker Jenkins, there was a pretty big fall off of like the top 3 guys with anyone else left.
Speaking of Walker Jenkins, I actually just saw him on Thursday at Cedar Rapids.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'll have to come watch him with you.
Yeah, well, he probably won't be here for long.
Well, true. I'll have to come quickly.
Yeah.
So Dylan Crews, you're right. He didn't really get a whole lot of fanfare, which is unfortunate because this is going to be his rookie eligible season. He's already at 50 plate appearances. He is struggling a bit, but he's had some pretty big hits. Like he's already at 3 home runs, but he's hitting 230. So it's one of those where it's like he's showing his skills. It's definitely pretty early on. And this is a team that's already out of contention. So he's going to get time to run with it. Hopefully get adjusted into it, and next year come out and just take over.
Yeah, I think what I like about what he's doing so far, obviously maybe results aren't there, but 3 home runs, 5 steals already in 11 games. That's pretty good. And his approach looks super solid. I watched him in his debut series, which was against the Cubs, and he just was already installed into the leadoff spot for a couple of those games, and seems like he's got a really patient approach up there. He's got already a 12% walk rate, and he's only striking out 14% of the time. So I think just in time, we're going to start seeing Dylan Crews take off because he just does all the things you want to see in a star player. Like I think he's got the batted ball metrics to back up some of the process stuff that he does with the walk rate and the strikeout rate. And I'm kind of excited for the Nationals. We've talked about them in recent weeks and months as a team to watch for future seasons, because it seems like they're really accumulating this core of young players, and I feel like that's what you need.
Yeah.
To take the next step. They have the base. It's almost just like getting secondary pieces, and that's way easier than finding the cornerstone superstar players, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing what really only them and the Orioles have done since like the 2015 Cubs and Astros. They're the 2 teams that basically tore it down, built a young core and are doing it that way, whereas everyone else is just trying to retool and try not to be out of competitiveness for too long. Like the Nationals tried to do that for a bit, didn't work. They sold off everything they could to get all these prospects, and it's been working out for them. So like we were talking not too long ago about how like the 5-year rebuild plan it doesn't exist anymore, and it's not going to. This is kind of like the last one of those to happen. And even then, it's not really on a 5-year time frame. It's on like a 3-year time frame. So
yeah.
But it was the same principle where they tore everything down, went all the way to the studs, and then built it back up. So, but the last thing I wanted to say about Cruz, so I did mention that he's had a pretty low average so far, but like really, he's probably a 260, maybe 270 guy in general. His big thing is going to be that OBP, slug, OPS. That's where he's going to be special. Because, I mean, he grades out as just a 40 hit tool, but with that high power, high speed, high fielding, he's going to be fun to watch.
Totally.
All right. So, young guy debuting, old guy retiring. Joseph Votto. Love the guy. He did finally retire after, I think he was going back on the IL, I think, in AAA Buffalo for the Blue Jays. And instead he decided to hang up his cleats. He did not make it back to the majors this year, which was incredibly disappointing to me. I was really looking forward to Joey Votto being up on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, he was just open and honest about it. Like he said he didn't have it. Like he sucked. Is basically what he said. And it's too bad because I give him big credit for basically trying to give it one last go by going to the minor leagues. Most players in his situation with that much service time and experience would not try to go play in the minor leagues and ride buses and stuff. And
Yeah.
he decided to do it, and it's too bad that it didn't work out. But we still have Joey Votto's whole career to appreciate, and I hope. I know he said that he wouldn't become a coach or anything, but I hope he remains somehow involved in baseball, and whether that be like as a announcer or some sort of analyst. I feel like he would be great at that because his insights are hilarious and valuable.
So in 16 years, Joey Votto has put up a career 394 or sorry 294. He's not Tony Gwynn. Sorry, 394. God dang it, I did it again. Please hold. Okay, let's try this again. So Joey Votto has had a career 294, 409, 511 triple slash.
Oh,
That's
that's
absolutely phenomenal. It just imagine if his career average would have been 300, having a career 300, 400, 500 triple slash.
he was there. He was there until the last few years when his average kind of dipped.
It was 2022 and 2023 hitting around 200 that really did him in.
Yep.
But
He was right there, and the OBP has always been Joey Votto's calling card. That's what he made his career on. Obviously, he did other stuff. He slugged and he hit and he did all that, but the OBP was the part that he based his game off. And thinking about Juan Soto, I just saw a stat that he's got the highest active OBP. Do you know what Juan Soto's career OBP is? I don't know the exact number. I should probably look that up, but I know roughly what it is.
423.
Yeah, that's super close. I believe it was 419, but I'll just verify that.
If,
But yeah,
if that's
there's
right,
no.
I can't believe I was that close.
Well, yeah, well, I think Joey Votto's number maybe helps you like level set because you know that a 409 is insanely impressive, and you
Yeah.
know the type of player that Juan Soto has been in his
Yeah.
career, where he's just a walk god. But Joey Votto is kind of the same way until he totally revamped his approach, especially in those last few years where he just started going for power and not caring so much about the OBP. I don't know. It was interesting to see how he evolved through the years.
Yeah, like his thing was always just get on base and then make it happen. And then there were a couple seasons where he's like, you know what, this year I'm going to try and go out and hit a bunch of home runs. And he hit 37 in 2010, 36 in 2017, 36 in 2021. Like the dude had the power. So the fact that he finished his career with only 356 home runs as a first baseman really just goes to speak to the way that he believed in his game of getting on base to let other people drive him in.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he was so fun to watch. And the reason that I want to kind of sit on this topic for a little bit is because there's not many first basemen like Joey Votto, and there's not going to be any like Joey Votto probably ever again. Like an OBP centric first baseman, that's where you put your power guy almost always. It takes a special breed to do what he did, going out with 2,135 career hits. He had 1,365 career walks, barely more in career strikeouts. Like, I don't know, the dude was insane, and I think he's kind of the where we're gonna start seeing the Hall of Fame start to change a little bit, because we've always kind of had this prototype first baseman for the Hall of Fame. And this past like 2 years, Scott Rowland got in and kind of changed the way third base is going to start to look, where it's not just these big mashing third basemen like your Adrian Beltre, like your but you're going to start getting more of those defensive first third basemen, and with Votto, we're going to get more of those multifaceted first basemen, kind of like a Keith Hernandez was back in the 80s and the 80s, but like Freddie Freeman, Paul Goldschmidt, Joey Votto, those are guys that I think are all very similar. I think Freeman's in a little bit of a different stratosphere here than those two.
Freeman's actually really similar to Votto, but maybe he's kind of the same way, right? Because he's right up there in the top of the OBP list. I think his is a career like 389 or something. By the way, Juan Soto is at 421 for his career.
I was 200ths off.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wild.
No, but I agree
Thousands.
because
Thousands.
Votto needs the recognition as he's like the gold standard of the new age player, where OBP gets valued properly, I think, and I think he will be. He's
Yeah.
gonna be recognized for it.
And I think he will get just a little bit of extra love for being one of those guys that, granted, he did go and play in the minor league system for the Jays, but his entire major league career was with the Reds. And those long time single team guys, I feel like do get a little bit of extra love when it comes to voting, because of just how loyal they are. And he went through some spells where it was tough to be loyal.
Yeah.
So lots of respect to Joey Votto. Love the man. Hopefully we get to see him on social media more, because he's really funny.
Yes.
All right. So how about we move to the other hot corner and talk about Matt Chapman?
All right.
So Matt Chapman here this week signed an extension with the San Francisco Giants to become their third baseman for the foreseeable future, signing a 6-year, $150 million extension at the age of 32. So first of all, do you like this deal from the Giants' perspective?
Yeah, I think I like it. I think the thing that Chapman provides is that he's going to give you that good defense because he's an elite defender. So at the bare minimum, and Matt Chapman's had his struggles offensively, like here and there he'll fluctuate, but overall he never really has a poor offensive season. So I feel like you've got some floor there too, because he'll give you home runs, he'll give you walks. So he's an on base guy, and then he's going to give you elite defense for a while.
He has
I don't
been
think that's
declining defensively a little bit the last year or so. So I mean, it could be a slump, and he might come back and be the best defensive third baseman next year. Very
yeah.
possible. But it's one of those that it kind of leaves me with not really a bad taste in my mouth, but just like a little bit of a, what are we going to get? Is this going to be Longo too? But I say that when the Giants signed Longo to an extension, this was a team that was still riding Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, Buster Posey. Who were the other old guys that were still there?
Hold on, wait. Clarification: did Longo sign an extension with the Giants, or was that still his Rays extension?
I don't know. That's a good
I feel
question.
like I feel like he signed the extension with the Rays and then he got traded. But let me
Uh,
just
Let me
find
pull
out.
up his BREF real quick.
It was a 10-year deal that guaranteed 6 additional seasons and 100 million. That was with the Rays. So that's
Okay,
he didn't sign that with the
so
Giants.
the Giants traded for that contract though.
Correct.
Okay, so I mean
That wasn't a bad contract. I feel like it was fine.
no, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
But I guess the point that I'm getting at is when Longo came to the Giants in 2018, he was 32. Matt Chapman signing this extension is 32. So a lot of people are going to look at this, and the reason that I even brought this up is because I was looking, and this is a thing that people are talking about, is that's kind of when Longo started to decline and wasn't the same guy, which kind of makes sense. You're approaching your mid 30s, you're not going to be quite as athletic as you were when you were 22, but his defense kind of declined until that random resurgence season with all the old guys just going off, and Buster Posey and Longo and Belt and Crawford and whatever. But I think besides even that fact, like people are trying to make this comparison to that contract, but the situation for the Giants is entirely different from when it was back in 2018 as well. Because now this is a Giants team that is building itself around Elliot Ramos, Patrick Bailey, Tyler Fitzgerald, Marco Luciano, Grant McCrae. So like they're actually bringing up their young guys now. They're young, talented guys that some of them took longer to get to the majors than were probably expected, but bringing in a veteran to pair is a cornerstone with some of these young studs like Ramos is a lot different than bringing in an old veteran to pair with a bunch of other old veterans,
Right.
and leaving them there for 6 years. So yeah, it was a long about way, stupid probably way for me to get to. This is a different situation, so don't compare the contracts.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fair. I just wanted to talk about Chapman's resurgent 2024 season, and the one specific number that jumps off the page is the 14 stolen bases, which is hilarious for a guy that has stolen 11 bases prior to the season in his entire career. He just decides to go out here as a 31-year-old and steal 14 bases because why not? Um,
Might as
isn't
well.
that kind of like what Judge did in his contract season, where he just stole a bunch of bases just cause?
I mean, kind of, yeah. Like, here,
Yeah,
let
I
me.
feel like it. I feel like players like to
Yeah, Judge stole 16
accumulate.
in that season.
Yeah, which was by far his
And
career high. I
before
would
that,
assume.
he had stolen 15, 18, 24 total in his career.
Yeah. So in the contract year, Matt Chapman has produced and he's bounced back from the last couple of years, which I mean, WRC Plus says that he's kind of still in the same range that he's been in for a few years. But this is as an overall, this is the best season that he's had since it looks like 2019 when he was at the A's. Um, Complete season, really good season, and um, yeah, I think from a intangibles perspective, Matt Chapman's like he's a leader type. He's a type that other players, the younger players, will follow. His work ethic, his reputation as defender. This is like a guy that you want to have on your team. I think it. I like it. I just like the contract a lot.
Yeah, and now that I'm actually got his page pulled up in front of me, I'm realizing that defensively he's actually rebounded and is having his third best defensive season of his career. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess he's already kind of proved that point moot. So, I love being proven wrong within minutes.
it's cool, right?
Yeah, it's great, especially
Yeah,
when it's for a good reason.
yeah.
So,
I do have questions about the Giants overall. Like, what's going on here? Are they going to be competitive? Are they just miles behind teams like the Padres, Dodgers, and Diamondbacks now?
see, I think they're still a ways behind, and I'm not sure what they're gonna do because this is a team that is sitting around 200 million estimated payroll, 207 for this year, which the luxury tax is at 235 now. Is that right?
Yeah, I think 237
Okay,
this year.
so they've got a little bit of room. They're losing the contracts of Conforto and Blake Snell off the books because Snell was on a 1 year deal.
Well, he's gonna
Conforto's
opt out.
oh that yeah
Yeah,
2 year deal with an opt out, right? Is that what it
3 year, I think.
was?
But yeah,
3. Um, and then Conforto comes off the books, and so they're going to have. Let's see where is this? 18. Oh, Canna is also coming off the books. So basically, they've got 65 million coming off. So they'll have some spending cash.
yeah,
So they could go out, and granted, they're going to have to replace Blake Snell or
right.
sign him back, which would probably be the smarter move, in my opinion, is to sign him back. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be weird because they could very well go out and add pieces and make this major league roster competitive. Where I'm still questioning is in that rotation, that bullpen, how that's going to look, because this lineup looks like the best lineup it's been in years for the Giants.
Yeah.
Pitching, I
I'd say
can't
so.
say the same.
No, I
Like
think they've got.
it's got some good pieces. It's also got a lot of fat to trim, I think.
Yeah,
And
it
trust me,
feels like a critical offseason for them. I'm curious to see where they go because it seems like it's just year after year they're not making that much progress. But this
yeah.
year maybe they're getting some better contributions from like the younger players finally arriving.
Yeah, the thing that kind of bothers me is that their farm system is not good.
Yeah, it's
Like
not really
their
producing guys.
good prospects are now in the majors, leaving. I think it leaves James Tibbs, Reggie Crawford, and Rainer Arias, who's at complex ball, and Bryce Eldridge at AAA starting pitcher. But those are the 4 top prospects that they have left, and they're not
Wait a
even
minute,
their top 4.
they're making Bryce Eldridge a pitcher.
Wait, is he not a pitcher? I thought he was.
He was a two-way player, but like he was much better as a hitter, I believed.
Oh, okay. They've got him playing it first. My bad.
Okay.
I'm. Uh, it looks like he is actually not pitched ever, and I just
Well,
made that up on the spot.
well, he was literally a two-way player in high school, so
Yeah, it's quite possible. I'm just remembering from the draft
yeah, could be.
because because he was last year's draft. Okay, yeah, that's probably what it is. Um, but yeah, anyway, they've got those 4 prospects that are kind of left, and they're a couple of them grade out at 40. There's one that grades out at 50, and that's Eldridge, and he's 19. So like, there's not any high-end talent close in their system. So I don't know what
Back
that.
to the it means that they have to go back to the free agent well, basically, and they've struggled to get players, and it's hard. You can't just rely on free agency to fill out your roster. You're not going to do very well.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they could do. I'm sure they've got a couple of interesting pieces they could trade. I mean, they're gonna get Jung Hoo Lee back next
Yeah,
year, coming off of labor room surgery. So like they've got some other pieces there for depth than is just on the active roster. I mean, Robbie Ray and Kyle Harrison are on the IL right now. So it's not quite as dire as it looks if you just look at their 26 man today, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else on the Gigantes?
I think that's all I got.
All right. Tell me about this man from Indiana. This massive, massive man. And for those of you who don't know, I am talking about the one and only Indiana Hoosier, Kyle Schwarber.
Wow. So Kyle Schwarber, he just kind of seemed like he had settled in as extremely consistent. I mean, if you look at 22 and 23 with the Phillies, he's basically striking out 29.9% of the time. And then he hit 46 and 47 home runs those 2 years. So it was like, this is what Kyle Schwarber does. He walks and he hits home runs and he strikes out. He's like three true outcome Joey Gallo type player. And that was totally fine because he was supplying that top end power. It's awesome. But this year, Kyle Schwarber is like, maybe he's just getting more luck on the balls in play. Maybe it's just that simple. Maybe nothing's actually changed because last year BABIP was 209. This year it's 304, and that's resulted in like 50 plus points of batting average. And he hasn't hit quite as many home runs. He's on a bit of a power binge right now. He had a 3 homer game recently, and then he hit a home run to lead off the next game. But now that I look at it, maybe nothing's changed. He's just getting better results.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. But to be honest, this is more in line with what we should expect from Kyle Schwarber than last year. Last year, him hitting 197 with a 209 BABIP, that is incredibly low, and it felt it the entire season. Like, the dude hits the ball so freaking hard. You should expect a few more to land than 209.
Yeah, but the one thing I'll point out is because he's such a fly ball hitter, you can expect the BABIP to be lower. So the 304 seems like that's the max.
Yeah.
He's not going to do any better.
I mean, yeah, but like across his career, he had like 3 straight years where it was between 250 and 290. Like, yeah. So like there is a world where him batting 235, 240 makes sense. Like 197 was the outlier. I mean, technically he did have a 188 in 2020, but no.
I would say I'm just amazed looking at this stat page, how consistent Schwarber has been. Really, he just does the same thing year after year. There's not a lot of fluctuation.
I didn't realize how close he was to 300 career homers. He'll be there next year.
Homers. Yeah, wow.
Dang. So the other important thing to note, Kyle Schwarber is tied, I believe. Tied, right? For the single season record for leadoff home runs. Tied with Alfonso Soriano, another former Cub.
Another former Cubs left fielder.
Oh, yeah.
With terrible defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tied at 13 on the season.
Yeah.
So Schwarber is not a guy who traditionally would be a leadoff hitter. Like, I think the only like big power leadoff hitter was Ricky Henderson, but it's because if Ricky's on, Ricky's going to steal second and third. Like, that made a lot of sense. Like, you've got guys with power that hit leadoff, like Mookie's hit leadoff for a long time. Correa hit leadoff for a long time. Or was it Springer? Springer, my bad.
He still does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, but like Schwarber was an entirely different type of player than those guys.
He was, but he also makes a lot of sense as a leadoff guy because of the OBPs that he would still keep relatively high. I mean, last couple years have been lower because that average has just been so ridiculously low. But this year, I mean, 370 OBP is a perfect guy to have leading off games.
Yeah, that's true. Walking 15% of the time, basically 2 games out of every 10, he's going to have a leadoff walk.
Something
So
like that.
I think that's how math works, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so is this the best Schwarber we're ever going to get? Is this season right here? It's not going to be his career high in home runs. But
Yeah.
is this the most well-rounded Schwarber we're ever going to see in 2024?
My bet would be yes, but now I'm thinking of a scenario where he combines 22 and 23 seasons with this luck that he's getting, or at least good fortune on the balls in play, and then he puts together like a 45 homer season with the 250 batting average. Then we're talking about like, wow, what a season for
And
Schwarber.
if he does that, his walk rate's going to go up closer to 20 too. 20 as well, not necessarily 22.
Wait, why do you say that?
The more home runs he hit, the more times they're going to intentionally walk you. They're going to be careful around you.
I
So
got you.
plus, like, I was just looking, like, last year he had a 17.5% walk rate. This year is at under 16, but like 1.5% is pretty significant over the course of 720 plate appearances that he had last year. So
Yeah, I guess so.
that's a significant amount of walks.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so I think the one thing that Schwarber doesn't do, really, although he's got 5 of them this year, is steal bases. However, I know that you wanted to talk about some stolen bases.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you got for me?
So I was trying to think about one other component of why a starting pitching group or like an entire staff would have success um just as a staff. And I was thinking about the component of the catcher and what they do at limiting stolen bases. And so I started looking at like stolen bases allowed by teams, and at the worst teams are like the Giants with 139. I wonder if that's just because Patrick Bailey was out for a while and they were just using random catchers. The Cardinals are 29th at
And
135 steals.
yeah, and we've gone through 3 different catchers, and one of them gives up basically every single one of those stolen bases in Ivan Herrera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ivan Herrera has like a 3% caught stealing rate. It's like stupid low.
Interesting. Yeah. So I mean that's just putting your pitcher in more trouble and not having a way to kind of bail them out of the base runners that they give up. I saw Austin Wells this weekend. Like the guy, I don't know what his numbers are specifically, but he seems like he's got a ridiculously accurate and strong throwing arm for getting base stealers. He caught PCA, who's only been caught 2 times this year now. And but the I guess the number that's standing out to me is that the Royals lead this category. They've only allowed 51 stolen bases all year, which is pretty nuts. And they've caught 27 guys too, so they have a really high rate of caught stealing as well. But why would teams not be even taking those attempts against the Royals? Do you have any
So
theories?
I don't know. So part of me thinks, because this is very reminiscent to, and I think you know where I'm going with this.
I know exactly where you're going. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very reminiscent to basically, I don't know, 2004 to 2021 in a city known as St. Louis, where there was just so many fewer attempts against Yachty because everyone respected Yachty's arm, his awareness. Somebody in that staff, most likely the primary backstop, is getting some respect. And I believe that primary backstop's name is Salvador Perez.
Yeah.
He's not the best catcher at caught stealings on the team, but they respect his arm enough not to try and run on him. And then I know you were saying Freddie Fermin has like a 66% caught stealing rate.
Yes, that surprised me. He's actually, 62% caught stealings. He's got 13 caught stealings already, and he's not even like the full time catcher. But okay, so with Yachty, obviously he was very very good at catching runners, but the reputation played into it, and that was like why they didn't make attempts even. But I feel like how can that apply for Salvador Perez? He doesn't have that reputation as being like this insane elite defensive catcher anymore.
Yeah, so he he does have a 25% caught stealing rate this year.
So that's
30,
pretty solid.
31 of the stolen bases were against him. He's caught 11 runners. So he does have a pretty good rate himself. And I don't know if the other part of this that could factor in, which the fact that Seth Lugo is a starter there kind of makes me question this a little bit, is how quick pitchers are to the plate. Because a pitcher with like a ridiculous, even out of the stretch, if they take a long time to get from start of motion to release, that gives a lot more possibility for someone to take off and successfully steal. And so that timing, along with the arm and the pop time of the catcher, because pop time is what? Pop of the catcher's mitt to pop of the second baseman or shortstop's mitt, whoever catches it. It's the time between. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it counts the transfer time and the time for the ball to travel.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So if Sal's pop time is pretty good, or Freddie Fermin, which clearly his pop time is fantastic if he's caught 62% of his runners. How many runners total is that, by the way? Like 10-ish total?
For who?
Fermin. Stolen base and caught stealing combined.
Well, I just got the caught stealing. He's got 13 total caught stealing and 62% caught stealing percentage.
Okay, so he's had 18 runners try and go on him, basically, and he's caught 13 of them.
And then with Salvi, he's at
he's at 31.
32% and 8 caught stealings this year.
I'm seeing 11 caught stealings.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's thrown out 31, or no, sorry, the 31 bases have been taken on him. He's thrown out 11.
I got 8 here, but I don't know why we got different numbers.
It's a great question.
Anyways, I also have the pop time here, so we can look at that real quick. Freddie Fermin's 5th in the league with a 1.87, and Salvi,
which 1.87, that's pretty close to what JT Realmuto's usually is, right?
Yes. JT Realmuto is 2nd in the league this year with the 1.85.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Patrick Bailey.
Yeah, I was gonna say JT Realmuto is like historically the gold standard of pop time, which Pat Bailey being better than him. Look out, runners going against San Francisco from here on out.
Well, all the guys in the top 5 are really, really bunched together. We're talking about 1.84, 1.85, 1.85, 1.86, 1.87. So
well, yeah, but I mean,
but then Salvi is down at 2.01. He's like 47th in the league, so he's not stellar. And I just checked, they've basically split the catching duties with Salvi playing 82 games and Freddie playing 79 games.
Which it makes sense that Salvi's getting a more of the stolen base attempts against him, because the numbers just are not in your favor running on Fermin.
I know.
But I do wonder if just that pure split in time is the main thing. Like,
I almost wonder what you were getting at with the pitchers. It's like, are the Royals pitchers all super fast to the plate or something?
And some of them I would say yes, but like historically, Seth Lugo is not fast to the plate. Although that's really just during his windup. Like, his windup is so slow.
Do we have a metric that tells us how fast the pitchers are to the plate?
I don't know.
I guess you could look at like catcher or stolen bases against specific pitchers.
Let's see. Does Baseball Savant have anything about it? Let's just go to like Seth Lugo, a Baseball Savant, and see what it gives me. Extension, ground ball rate, hard hit, whiff, chase. StatCast. Not. Yeah, I
I
don't.
don't.
I don't
We'll have to
see
look into that.
anything.
Yeah.
But that would be a really interesting thing to see, because like Cole Reagan's, I think, is pretty quick. Like he doesn't really have a whole lot of randomness in his motion. Waka's usually just a pretty clean motion from what I remember.
But
Don't
that's
know
the other
much about
part
Alec Marsh.
that plays into it, the actual pitch velocity. So with the guy like Reagan's, makes sense that he's going to get the ball to Freddie Fermin faster because he throws really hard. The other guys in the rotation, though, we're talking about slow ballers. We're
Yeah,
talking about
they're
like guys with average velocity or lower. Like Seth Lugo does not throw hard. Michael Waka's maybe average. He's probably a little bit below
I
average
think
by
he's
this
throwing
point.
92 or 93 at this point.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And then you talk about Brady Singer, who's also not a hard thrower, and it's amazing. Like this is such a interesting situation, and I don't think we've figured out the answer to why it is like this.
yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see over the next year with I would assume that the Royals are going to continue to split time between Salvi, who is transitioning to more of just a first base DH role.
Yep.
DH when Vinny's healthy. And Freddie Fermin, and see if this trend continues or if this is a one-off.
Yeah. I did want to talk about the pitchers though, because I was just looking at the ERA leaderboard, and I found their top four starters, the guys that I've just mentioned here. So Cole Reagans, Michael Waka, Seth Lugo, and Brady Singer. All four of those guys are like top 20 or so in ERA in the league.
You're
And that's
telling me that Alec Marsh's 466 isn't in the top 20?
well, if your top four guys make all their starts and they all have top 20 ERAs, you don't really care what your fifth guy does. He's good enough, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Although I'm curious where he's at, because to be honest, 433 is not going to be that low.
No, it's not terrible.
He is not even qualified,
Okay,
apparently.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
If he were qualified, it would put him around 50th in the league, right around Chris Bassett and Yusei Kikuchi and Mackenzie Gore.
Okay. Yeah, but let me just look at those starters. So, we got here.
But yeah, the other thing with their starters is their starters this year have all been workhorses. Like Cole Reagan's in his first really full season.
Mm-hmm.
I would say definitely his first full season as a starter. But he's thrown 167 innings, made all 29 of his starts. I think maybe missed a start, but like he's made 29 starts with that 333. Michael Waka has pitched 144 innings across 25 starts. Seth Lugo has pitched 186 innings across 29 starts. So like their guys have been healthy and workhorses this entire season, with a couple of them that will be approaching or surpassing 200 innings on the season, which is not an easy feat anymore. So like just the consistency they're getting is really, really good to see. And going into the postseason, if these guys stay healthy, is going to put them in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I'm just so surprised. Like that they have done it. That's the reason kind of why they're going to make the playoffs, barring some epic collapse here at the end of the season. They're going to make the playoffs, and it's because they've been able to keep all their starters healthy all year, and they're all pitching well, amazingly. Because outside of Cole Reagan's, I did not expect this from this group. I don't know what's going on. You seem confused.
Well, I just found something called the pitch tempo leaderboard.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm Okay, I need to come back and look at this later because this might give us what we were looking for. I'm not 100% certain.
Okay, we'll dig into
Um,
that then.
yeah. But yeah, anything else on the Royals?
I don't think so.
Okay, so now that we're done talking about the Royals, let's go talk about my king.
Yes.
And that man, the king of baseball, he's the Elvis Presley of guys that swing sticks. Shohei Ohtani. 46 home runs, 46 stolen bases. Can you tell me the last man who has had 46 home runs and 46 stolen bases in the same season?
I cannot tell you that man.
That's because that man does not exist.
Yes.
Shohei Ohtani, by reaching the 45-45 club, has set a new standard for power speed combo in a season. He is on pace right now for 52 home runs and 52 stolen bases, making him the first and only, if he gets there, big caveat right there, but he's looking like he's going to be able to do it, will make him the only person to have ever done that, which is insane.
Yeah. I'm out of words. Like, I don't even know what to say here. I did not expect this. It's so crazy. Like, I should expect it. I should just expect amazing feats I haven't even considered.
Without looking at his stat page,
okay,
why would you not expect this particular feat? Just in your head, thinking about Ohtani's game over the last 7 years.
It's definitely the speed part of it, because he's done. I think he did break his record for home runs hit in the season now, but
he's tied it with 2021.
He's tied it. Okay. So we've seen this level of power for sure, but now he's just a man on a mission to go steal bases too, ever since last year with the new rules. But this year he took it to another level. I think last year he stole about 30 bases.
20.
Is that right?
On the dot.
20 bases. Okay. And was that his career high?
No.
Oh no.
He had 26 stolen bases in 2021, his MVP season.
Yeah.
So
I feel like he must have had a literal goal written down on paper before the season. I'm going to hit 40-40 or 50-50 or who knows what he put down. But he clearly is driven to do it. But also, the cool part is that he's not just trying to rack up the numbers. He's clearly not trying to do that. He's actually doing it in ways that help the team. Yeah, he's literally trying to take the extra base in close games. There was a game where he had the 3 stolen bases last weekend, I think. He took an extra base. He took second base and then he stole third base and then he scored the run, and it was like, this guy is making stuff happen on his own.
So
all in efforts to help the Dodgers.
So there's a couple of theories, and they're theories, but they're probably accurate. Where the reason we're seeing this now is because this is the one season where Shohei knew from the beginning that he was not going to pitch. He is throwing off a mound now, I think, is part of his rehab, but he's not pitching. So he is going out and trying to give as much value to his team as humanly possible. And he knows he has that speed. With this being the only thing he has to train for this year, he can focus a little bit more on running, on staying limber so that he's not pulling muscles, whatever. And he has that natural speed, that natural ability. He's always had it. We just don't get to see it because he also has to pitch every 5 days or 6 days. So he's got to hold himself back. And so with him not having to deal with that this year, we're going to see what this man is actually capable of, which is just going to make us appreciate it even more once he goes back to pitching. Because this is literally unheard of.
Yeah.
It's insane. No human that has ever played baseball, professional baseball, has reached those marks. And I believe that holds for the KBO and the NPB, does it not?
I would assume so. Yeah, this is unprecedented stuff for sure.
Yeah. And it's just wild. It's wild to see this. And as you mentioned, he's doing it while just playing ball normally. 289, 373, 613. Triple slash. 167 WRC plus. You know what his offensive batting and base running combined runs above average are? 58.1. 58. Yeah. He gets minus 15 defensive because he's a DH. And it still puts him at 6.64 as just a hitter.
As a DH, yeah.
As a DH, just a hitter.
So, yeah, that'd be an interesting one to look at. This has got to be one of the best DH seasons ever. And no DH has won the MVP, correct?
Did David Ortiz not win one?
I don't know. He might have.
David Ortiz MVP.
I feel like he didn't. And he because of the DH thing.
He
did not win. He finished second, third, fourth, and fourth. Like he was way up there, but he would probably lose votes just because of his DH status and the fact that he was actually more one-dimensional because he didn't have the base running skills of Ohtani.
Yeah. So David Ortiz's 2005 season was the one where he was second in the MVP. And just looking at that offensive batting and base running runs above average, the component of WAR, that season, Big Papi had 45.7. What did I say Shohei was at? 58.1. So this is actually 2007 David Ortiz. And we have 2 weeks to go. He has already reached the best DH season David Ortiz, Hall of Famer, ever had.
Yes.
And he's done it with 46 stolen bases.
And he's essentially a shoo-in to win the MVP. There's no taking that away from him at this point.
Oh, yeah. No chance that anyone else is getting it in the NL. I can't even think of who else would be.
People were talking about, can Francisco Lindor track him down and win the MVP? No. But I don't.
No, I guess Francisco Lindor's probably going to be second, because that's a good
call. The other guy would be Ketel Marte, probably.
That's true. But yeah, Shohei is just nuts. Anyone who sits there and yells, "Why are we always talking about Ohtani? This, whatever." Those people can just go away. As soon as the man stops doing things that we've not seen, we're talking about him. Period.
Yeah.
And everyone should.
So when's he going to get to 50-50? That's really only the question left.
So there is an article on Fangraphs that was put up by, oh shoot, where did it just go? Ben Clemens on the 5th. So this is 3 days ago. And in 2022, when Aaron Judge was getting close to 61 home runs, he put together a basically an odds tracker for the entire rest of that season and the odds of him hitting number 61 on any given date. And he's done it with Shohei for the 50-50 feet and for just 50 homers in general. So the day with the highest odds of being Shohei's 50th home run, 22nd of August, which is a home game against the Rockies. The odds of him reaching 50 home runs by the end of the season is at 66.5. So basically, way more likely than not, he's reaching 50 home runs.
Yeah. I'm going to take September 20th just because Shohei is an odds breaker.
For the home run specifically? Or for the whole thing?
For the 50-50, the whole thing.
You're going with the 20th?
Yes.
Okay. So here's where the odds are on 50-50.
Okay.
The day with the single highest highest odds of a single day is the 27th of September at 6.3%. the cumulative odds of him reaching the number are 55.6%. So basically, the odds are saying, yeah, it's more likely to happen than not. Not by a significant amount for 50-50. For home runs, yes. Steals, it doesn't seem to think so, just odds-wise. But the 20th, 10.4% chance he finishes it by the 20th. That is a real significant probability.
Yeah. And I know it's pretty aggressive because that's just what
12 days away
now, but yeah. But he can do it. You know, he hits, multi-homer games, and he'll steal 2 or 3 bases in a day. Like, he'll be there before you know it.
Well, and to be honest, if I were him and my entire goal was just to prioritize how to reach the mark, I would steal bases early, and then I would go for the home runs after, because they finish their season with a 3-run series in Coors Field.
Oh, yeah, that helps.
So it's going to be fun to watch the end of this.
Do you have a date that you're guessing? So you think it's going to go down to the end?
I'm thinking that he's going to do it at home against the Padres on the 24th. That would be... No, the 25th. It'd be the middle game of the series against the Padres and the second to last series of the year.
Okay, sounds good.
So...
Hey, as long as they're not playing the Royals, you don't want to run on the Royals.
No, you do not. It looks like he's got a couple games against the Cubs coming up. Probably not a terrible time to take off and run.
Unless Bethancourt's catching.
True. Then he's got 4 against the Braves. Probably don't want to run on Sean Murphy. Probably not. Then they've got 3 against the Marlins in Miami. I don't even know who their catcher is.
Nick Fortes.
Steal on him.
Yeah.
And then they've got 3 at home against the Rockies, 3 at home against the Padres, and 3 on the road at the Rockies. So,
okay.
Honestly, the catchers he's going up against, probably some of the better ones to be up against for this.
I feel like we're overanalyzing. It doesn't matter. He's going to steal those bases.
How many times has he been caught stealing this year?
That's a good question. Yeah.
4.
4. So he's incredibly efficient.
He has had 50 stolen base attempts this year. He has an 80% success rate.
Yes.
Or no, higher than that.
Wait, it's higher, right?
No, yeah.
It's
yeah,
92.
no, it's 92. I can't math.
Yeah.
I knew it had an 8 somewhere. I had to subtract 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're trying to do monkey math now. I thought you were the math guy.
I'm supposed to be. It's Sunday night, man. I don't know what's happening. So, all right. Well, I don't know if there's anything else to say.
Yeah, just go watch Shohei steal some bases.
The 20th, 25th.
Yeah.
I will put... Where'd it go? All right. Let's see what cards I have in here. There's probably a Cub. Matt McClain is not a Cub. There is not. Here's what I'm going to do. If he gets it on or before the 20th, I will give you this Corbin Carroll Rookie Cup card. Nice. Tops Now.
I'll take that deal.
All right. If he does not and he gets it on the 25th, then you have to wear a Cardinal hat for a picture.
Okay, fine.
Cool. This will work. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for listening. We will see you guys next week. If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.